All right, today we're looking at something pretty wild. A brand new tiny AI that's really punching way above its weight. It's called Qwen 3.5 0.8B, and the claim is that it crams the power of a giant AI into a package that's small enough to run right on your laptop. So picture this. It is 4 in the morning. An alert goes off. Alibaba's AI team just dropped something out of the blue, and this quote right here, it just perfectly captures that feeling. It was significant. You know, a surprise release like this from a huge player, it always means something important is happening. And that really gets us to the heart of the matter, doesn't it? We're all so used to these massive AI models that live way out there in the cloud. But this one's different. It's made to run right here, on your own computer. So the big question is, does tiny also mean weak? I mean, is this thing actually powerful enough to matter? Let's find out. Okay, so let's start with the basics. What exactly is Qwen 3.5? Well, as you can see, this isn't just about one single model. We're actually looking at a whole new family of them. The team released a whole lineup, starting from this tiny 0.8 billion parameter model all the way up to a 9 billion parameter version. And just think of a parameter as like a little knob the AI can tweak to learn stuff. So yeah, more parameters usually means more power. But here's the really important part. These are not just stripped down, watered down versions of some bigger model. They share the same advanced DNA. And best of all, they're completely open source. So today, we're really going to put the baby of the family, the 0.8B, under the microscope. So now that we know what we're dealing with, let's get to the promise. What is Alibaba, the developer, actually claiming this little model can do? Let's dig into what they've packed inside. And I mean, the official model card is just packed with buzzwords. It claims it can see and understand text right out of the box. It's got this efficient hybrid architecture. It supposedly supports over 200 languages and uses some super advanced training methods. Honestly, it's a ton of promises for such a small model. Now, one of the key reasons it can make these claims is something called a mixture of experts architecture. And the analogy here explains it perfectly. Instead of having one single AI brain trying to do everything, it's got a whole team of specialists inside. So when you ask it something, the system is smart enough to send the problem to the right expert for the job, which makes the whole thing way faster and more efficient. And then there's this number, 262,144. That is the model's context window. And you can basically think of that as the AI's short-term memory. It's the difference between an AI that can only read a single page versus one that can read an entire novel and actually remember all the characters and plot points. For a model this small to have a memory this big, well, that's almost unheard of. It's a huge claim. All right, enough talk, enough promises on paper. How does this tiny AI actually perform when you put it to a real-world test? We're going to start with one of the hardest challenges you can throw at any model, writing complex code. And this is the real million-dollar question, right? It's one thing for an AI to spit out trivia facts. It's another thing entirely to generate functional, creative, and genuinely complex code completely from scratch. So here was the test. A single prompt asking the AI to create a complete, self-contained web page that animates a Bitcoin mining simulation. Now, this requires knowing HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and making them all work together perfectly inside one file. That is a seriously tall order. And the result? Oh my God. It absolutely nailed it. On the very first try, it generated a flawless file. The quote you're looking at, that's the tester's genuine, completely shocked reaction. And that says it all, doesn't it? The code wasn't just working, it was creative, it was visually impressive, just wow. Okay, so a massive win on the coding front, no question. But what about that other big claim, supporting over 200 languages? Let's see how it did on its multilingual tests. And here's where things got a little weird. It was a real mixed bag. On the one hand, it handled some common European languages pretty well. But when the tester tried many low-resource languages, the translations were, and I quote, totally wrong. Then it showed this surprising cultural nuance in a complex scenario, but completely failed a super simple English task. The takeaway here is pretty clear. Its language skills are, to put it mildly, inconsistent. All right, finally, let's put that unified vision language claim to the test. Can this little AI actually see and understand the world through an image? So the first test was pretty straightforward. Just describe an image. It was shown this illustration of photosynthesis, and its response was, Well, it was spot on. It didn't just say a picture of a plant. No, it said a colorful, whimsical illustration. That means it understood not just the content, but the actual artistic style. That's very impressive.
But, a simple description is one thing. The real test for an AI's vision is whether it can do optical character recognition, or OCR. Basically, can it not just see text in a document, but actually read it and pull out structured information, like from an invoice?
So it was given an image of an invoice and was asked to pull the information out into JSON, which is just a nice, clean data format that computers love. And would you look at these results? It performed beautifully. It just pulled out the item names, the quantities, the prices, with incredible accuracy. For a model this tiny, that is a seriously powerful and useful skill.
I think this quote from the tester just nails it. It really captures the essence of its vision skills. It might not be absolutely perfect every single time, but the overall capability is just shockingly good. Strokes of brilliance is exactly the right way to put it.
So, after putting this little model through coding, languages, and vision, what's the final verdict? Is it really small but mighty?
Let's break it down with a quick report card. For coding and creativity, easy A+, absolutely exceptional. For vision and OCR, a very solid A. It is seriously capable. But for multilingual tasks, it gets a C- at best. That's the one area where it just clearly falls short of what was promised.
So the main takeaway here is pretty clear. This thing is not a perfect all-arounder, but the things it does well, it does astonishingly well. To have this level of coding and vision ability in a free, open-source model that is small enough to run on your personal computer, that is a genuine breakthrough.
And that really leaves us with a fascinating thought, doesn't it? For years, the most powerful AI has been locked away in faraway data centers. But now, it's starting to show up right here, on our own devices. And that changes the question from just, what will big tech build, to something much more interesting. What will we create?